tweeted that you believe that you were being COVID shamed because of your decision to go ahead with the Tulsa rally on Saturday night. The director of the health department in the county and in the city has encouraged you to postpone that, saying they still think that they've got too big a COVID problem for you to pull off a rally like that. Your thoughts on it?
Well, Oklahoma's done very well. I just spoke to the governor. He's very excited about it. Governor Stitt, who's done a terrific job. Mike, I think you can maybe speak to this. He's done a great job. Oklahoma's at a very low number. They've done really fantastic work. They have a pretty new, magnificent arena, as you probably have heard, and we're getting exact numbers out, but we're either close to or over 1 million people wanting to go. We have a 22,000-seat arena, but I think we're going to also take the convention hall next door, and that's going to hold 40,000, so we'll have 22,000 plus 40,000, which would mean that we'd have over 900,000 people that won't be able to go, but hopefully they'll be watching. But it's an amazing, nobody's ever heard of numbers like this. I think.
Well, how about that, folks? 50,000, 70,000, heck, 1 million. Welcome. You're listening to the Sunday special of Coffee Talk Politics, and I'm Monique, your host. If this is the first time that you're listening, well, thanks for coming along, and you might want to pick up some of the other episodes if you're interested. Today, I'm recording a special episode. Tik Tok Your Time is up. I have been inspired. As you probably know, Trump had a rally to kickstart his campaign in Tulsa last night. The day after the Juneteenth celebrations and during the COVID pandemic. In fact, they had recorded one of the highest, if not the highest, infections to date in that state. Whether you're a fan or not, I was enraged. I mean, what the heck was he doing, and why wasn't the state there to stop the rally and protect its citizens? So last night, I turned into the rally coverage on Twitter, and the story got really interesting. At first, I could see that the auditorium wasn't full at all, maybe 35-40% of it. No, it was full, and this is an auditorium with 19,000 people, and you can see the photographs. They're all over, on social media, but in the newspapers as well. And the whole upper tier, was empty. Now, the Tulsa police have, in fact, confirmed that yes, it was just under 6,200 people. I've seen posts of 6,611 people. And not only that, the overflow stage area outside, close to the venue, was empty. They actually started taking it down, the bunting and the stage, as the Trump rally, was happening inside. Now, I realized at that point that the 800,000 that Brad Parscale was talking about wasn't going to happen. I don't know how long Brad will actually still be in his job, and I wonder if we're going to be starting to see some tweets from Trump, to fire him. But I could see, getting back to the facts at hand, I could see that it was going to be an absolute gargantuan flop and in front of the whole world. So I thought, well, are people starting to wake up? Right? Was it because of COVID? Right? It's really hard to say, though. So as the evening went on, I was reading some tweets, and I came across a message from someone who was saying that his daughter and her friend, her friends at high school, had bought tickets as a way of emptying the venue. Not go, buy them and then not go. And I immediately thought, well, how many other people were doing the exact same thing? Now, I've gathered from various news stories and commentators that, yes, there was a deliberate plan. So I got onto a few trusted Twitter accounts to check out what was happening. Like, for example, Steve Schmidt and the Lincoln Project, along with a few others that I follow. And these are people working in communications, and they work on campaigns and have in the past for the Republicans. And there it was. Schmidt's daughter and some of her high school friends had bought tickets as a way of sabotaging the event. Others were posting this on their timelines, that they were doing the exact same thing. And then the story broke. of Mary Jo Lopp, and she's a 51-year-old grandma from Fort Dodge in Iowa. And she had seen posts, previous to this, before the campaign, on alt TikTok from the Black Lives Matter groups, people who were really pissed off with Trump, that he had chosen that particular Saturday to come to Tulsa. And it was just not these people. I think most of us were as well. And it was a real slap in the face. So on June the 11th, she posted a video encouraging people to buy tickets, to go to tickets for the rally, and then not go. In other words, to act. She said, I recommend all of those of us that want to see this 19,000 seat auditorium barely filled or completely empty, go reserve tickets now and leave him standing there alone on the stage. Now, K-pop Twitter and alt TikTok picked up on it and ran with it, and it spread like wildfire throughout the States. Now, if you're ignorant like me on these things, I just ask my daughter and she tells me everything I need to know in that world. And K-pop stans are fans of Korean pop music. And alt TikTok, this is a group of teenagers who pretend to be multinational corporations, and they have a lot of fun. They make these really funny posts about fake products, and they post them. Now, things took off. Mary Jo Lopp estimates that her original TikTok video reached over 2 million viewers. You can read about all of this. All the major news channels are picking this up. I picked up most of the information in articles, in newspapers and other Twitter postings. Now, besides the joy of seeing Trump humiliated, I learned something extraordinary about strategy and tactics in fighting the social media war. And that we don't always have to be on the short end of the stick. Firstly, Dr. Emma Bryant, she reports that it was a real data counter-operations mission. The K-pop stans and the alt TikTok coordinated their efforts, passed along info on how to keep anonymous. And this was important because when they booked the tickets with, in their real names, they got bombarded by Trump campaign messages. So they learned how to do this undercover. Then, Dr. Bryant also says it was a real form of subversion because they wanted to mess with the Trump campaign's data gathering efforts. They knew what they were doing. Mikiko Kakutani posted some comments from a TikTok user, and this is the quote that I found. We all know the Trump campaign feeds on data. They are constantly mining these rallies for data. Feeding them false data was a bonus. The data they think they have, the data they are collecting from this rally, isn't accurate. By the way, Kakutani, she's an internationally renowned author and studiosa. She's a researcher, and she wrote The Death of Truth. And let me tell you, it's a must-read, for those that want to know more about the post-truth era. But look, let's get back to what we were talking about. Brilliant, right? These kids were brilliant, just brilliant. So if this continues, think about it. Any future analysis and how we go forward with the campaign based on voter data taken from the rallies, they won't be accurate. All their modeling for future messaging, getting out the vote, it'll be messed up if this continues. And these kids rock and roll. They've coordinated their efforts in the past. The two groups have also manipulated algorithms used on Twitter to make sure that the alt-right doesn't take over let's say their posts and that are about issues that they're fighting for. This is to stop the alt-right from trolling their posts. Now, in this case, they were able to keep their strategy and their mission fairly under wraps. I can honestly say that I hadn't seen anything on Twitter about their intentions at all. Once they sent out the information to everyone that they wanted to and the instructions, then they deleted their posts. So they kept things quiet. They move like social media warriors, using active and countermeasures. So this makes me really hopeful. This is a way to counter data mining, or at least one of the ways, working from within to throw off the algorithms that are essential to the social media game, especially for the Trump campaign. And then there are people out there organizing and working to bring down Trump. Now, I know that I should really maintain some sort of amount, let's say, of objectivity, but you know what? I also love the fact that we're still living in a democracy. Fragile as it is, imperfect, it's difficult, but I also think it's time to act. So it's one small victory, like, for example, the footage of Trump as he's getting off last night from Air Force One coming back from the rally, and let me tell you, it wasn't a good look. He's sluggish, dejected. I know, folks, it's one just small victory. The campaign's going to be long. And on that note, this brings me to the end of this Sunday special pod. Thanks for listening, and I hope you tune into Coffee Talk Politics, Episode 3, What Fresh Hell Is This? Everything you wanted to know about populism and authoritarianism but was afraid to ask. Ciao, Bella. Ciao. Cheers, everyone.